Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. HTM here, and we are back on the public test server checking out the Greymoor chapter release. In this video, I want to go over the werewolf skill line changes. Now, these are not as big, they aren't as significant as the vampire class line changes, but there are some pretty nice things here, some pretty nice upgrades. So let's go ahead and jump into those. Let's start with the werewolf transformation. At base, this still has the 300 ultimate cost. I am a sorcerer here on this build using the salvation set, so I just reduced my cost a little bit for testing. But when you transform, this is essentially the same. Your max stamina is increased by 30%, and while slotted, your stamina recovery is increased by 15%. So this is what the base morph looks like, pretty much the same as it has always been. Now, checking out the morphs for our ultimate, Pack Leader did get some changes here. Reduces your damage taken, grants you and your group minor courage, and summon 2 dire wolves to fight by your side. So the stats are the same for the transformation, max stamina 30%, but now you have 10% less damage. So that's 10% damage mitigation. Minor courage increases your weapon and spell damage by 129. That's for you and your group as well. So let's go ahead and check that out. Here's what it looks like. So you do become the white werewolf, get your dire wolf buddies. So what I don't see for this morph is the minor courage. So that may be a bug currently, but I do not see that. For example, in my buff list of active effects, nope, I do not see it. So that may not be working correctly. Or maybe it's just not showing on my buff tracker there. Let's go ahead and check out the other morph, Werewolf Berserker. Not much has changed for this morph option. Augments your light attacks. Little typo there. Your light attacks to gain a bleed, and your heavy attacks deal damage in a cone in front of you. So there you see the bleed damage, 4-second bleed as it was before. Heavy attacks deal 50% splash damage. You still have the 30% max stamina and stamina recovery increased by 15%. So here's what that morph looks like. You can see now I do have the bleed, 4-second bleed automatically. That will refresh itself. Here's the heavy attack animation. Nothing really has changed here. So our next skill is Pounce. Pounce on an enemy with Primal Fury, dealing physical damage. Activating the ability again within the next 5 seconds causes you to cast Carnage. That's physical damage over 10 seconds and deals up to 450% more damage to enemies under 100% health. There it is. As you can see, I get that little buff icon, and there's the Carnage. So it's a big slap basically after you do the Pounce. So one more time. Here's the Pounce. There's the Carnage, and it does last for 10 seconds. So that extra bleed effect for 10 seconds after pouncing. All right, let's look at the morph options. We have Brutal Pounce. Deals additional damage to other nearby enemies. Carnage now hits in a cone, so instead of single targets, and increases your weapon damage every time you apply it to an enemy. So we still have the Gap Closer, we still have the Pounce. Activating again, we get the Bleed. Within 5 seconds, we get the Brutal Carnage Bleed for 10 seconds. Again, that does do execute damage, up to 450% more damage based on their missing health. And then we are going to increase our weapon damage by 85 for each enemy hit, up to a maximum of 6. So that's quite a lot of weapon damage overall. Let's go ahead and pick that morph and then see how it looks. There's the Pounce. There's the Carnage. And you can see it does have more of an AoE look to it. You can see it is stacking up. Even on the same single target, it looks like you can recast it to get additional stacks. So 32, 46 weapon damage. So now it's 5 stacks. 33.99 weapon damage. Let's do 6 stacks, which is the maximum. 35.52 weapon damage. And then, yep, it doesn't go above 6 stacks. So some pretty interesting mechanics there. I do like that one. For other more, Feral Pounce. Pounce and Carnage now restore stamina and extend your werewolf transformation whenever they deal damage. So 85 stamina and extends your werewolf transformation by 1 second. So see what that looks like. There is the Pounce. There's the Carnage. You can see a little different visual effect here, the green glow. I'm assuming that's because I'm restoring stamina. And you get the extra little werewolf timer there as well. That's what that looks like. Pretty cool. Next ability, Hircine's Bounty. Invoke the Huntsman's Blessing, healing you. If you're at full health, instead you restore 3,000 stamina. You also gain major brutality while slotted. You can see I am getting a big chunk of health back there. There we go. Let me use up some stamina again so you can see. There you go again. Pretty cool. It does have still a pretty high magicka cost. I do like the major brutality passively while slotted. That even works when you're in non-werewolf form. So first morph, Hircine's Rage. If cast at full health, you gain major berserk for a short duration, but also increase your damage taken. So the major berserk is 25% damage done for 6 seconds, but you also take 23, looks like, you also take 20% more damage at max rank. So that's what that looks like. You can see the major berserk icon hitting for 25% more damage. That's a lot of damage, you guys. I can go ahead and show you that one more time. So you can see my claws are doing about 2,400 non-crit with major berserk, hitting for almost 3k there, non-crit for 6 seconds. And obviously you get the increased damage done, 20% increased damage done on your character. I don't know how that's tracked. I don't see a debuff on my character for that specifically. So that's interesting. I wonder if that's not working correctly. You'd assume you would see some type of debuff also. I see the major berserk, but I don't see anything that says I'm taking more damage. So interesting. Furthermore, Hircine Fortitude increases the healing done and increases your health and stamina recovery by a small amount. So about 8k health versus 6k, and then increasing my health and stamina recovery by 2% of the healing caused for 6 seconds up to a maximum of 666. Still scales off max health. If you are at full health, you instead restore 3,000 stamina, and you still have major brutality while slotted. So I think for this one, I actually need to have missing health. Let's see. So I have about 881 health recovery, 868 stamina recovery, so about 800 of each. Let's go ahead and get rid of some health here. Okay, I'll go ahead and transform. Super low health, let's go ahead and use that. And then you can see my recovery shoot up. So now I have 1,400 health recovery and about 1,600 stamina recovery. That was ridiculously short, though. All right, so our next ability is going to be Roar. Roar with Bloodlust to terrify up to 6 nearby enemies, fearing them for 4 seconds, setting them off balance for 7 seconds. And we do now get major savagery while slotted, so that increases our weapon critical by 2191. That's equivalent to 10% bonus weapon critical. So let's see what that looks like. There you go. You got the fear, you got the off balance. So Ferocious Roar increases the speed of your heavy attacks after casting. So that's going to buff it by 33% for 10 seconds afterwards. A little bit faster. There you can see. Yep, definitely noticeable. Furthermore, if we have Deafening Roar, reduces enemies' physical resistance and damage done. So that's Major Fracture and Minor Maim for 10 seconds total. That's really, really strong. So there's what that looks like. You can see the Minor Maim and the Major Fracture on my target. Those are really nice debuffs to have, especially for soloing. All right, next up, Piercing Howl. Crush the enemy with a Deafening Howl, dealing physical damage. Enemies who are facing you, 10% more damage from this ability. Let's check it out. So in front, 62.79, and back, 57.72, so that's definitely true. On the side, so the front is about here. So that kind of arc, that's our front, at least for this skill. Howl of Despair grants a synergy to your allies that grants them Empower. So Empower for 5 seconds, increasing their damage done with light attacks by 40%. I'm not going to be able to show that one. For Howl of Agony, the bonus damage to targets facing you increases and also works on feared enemies. So enemies who are feared or facing you take 25% more damage from this attack. That's a lot of damage. So here's what that looks like. Behind my enemy, 6937 in front. This doesn't appear to be working, actually. If they're in front, they should be taking 25% more damage, but they are not. So that looks like that might be bugged with this particular morph, unfortunately. But let's go ahead and check out the last skill, Infectious Claws. Shred enemies in front of you, dealing disease damage and additional disease damage over 10 seconds. Enemies hit are inflicted with a disease status effect. So that's what that looks like. It is AoE, by the way. So for the morphs, Claws of Anguish still does Major Defile. So it reduces healing received by 30% and health recovery by 30%. So have the disease status effect. And that's a 4-second debuff. Let's go ahead and check that one out. So there you can see the Minor Defile debuff active on the skeleton. Claws of Life, the damage over time heals you for its damage caused. So 100% heal of that damage. So you can see that healing comes back about every 2 seconds there. And again, that's based on the damage done. So for this last ability, really nothing changed that I can see. This looks the same as it is currently on the live server. Now in terms of the passives, those are pretty much the same as well. Devour has not changed as far as I can tell. Pursuit, you still get the increased movement speed, increased stamina, sustain on your heavies. Blood Rage gives you a little extra time in werewolf form. Blood Moon, you can still infect others. Savage Strength, you still get the bonus weapon damage and spell and physical resist. And then Call of the Pact has not changed from what I can tell. So there you have it. Those are the werewolf updates for the Greymoor chapter as they are right now on the PTS server. Remember, this is only week 1 of the PTS, so this could be changing pretty soon, as early as next week. If you have any questions about these changes, make sure you let me know in the comments below. Also, give your feedback. Let us know what you think. Do you think this is enough to make werewolves useful again, both in PvE and PvP, or are there still some changes that you would like to see done to the skill line? Let us know in the comments section. Till then, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you claw that like button to death for me, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this. As always, stay safe. Thanks for watching, and I will see you around in the next video.